Hello everybody and welcome. For today's video I'm going to present a position from one of my recent tournament games. I had the white pieces in this game. This was my round 2 game against a stronger opponent, but I got this very favourable position with white. You can see that I've broken through on the king's side, and black's king is in a precarious position there on the f7 square. And in this move there's a very strong forcing continuation that wins by more or less by force. And unfortunately in the game I did not find the best continuation for white, but the continuation I found should still have been enough for the win, but unfortunately I scorned my chances, and disappointingly the game ended a draw about 20 moves later, with both of us in time trouble. So I'm going to turn this into a calculation training exercise, and I'd like you to just pause the video and see if you can find the best move and the resulting variations for white that would lead to victory. And there's two main moves that we'll consider to be winning, but there's one move in particular that's just crushing for white here. So if you just want to go ahead and pause, I'll be back in a moment to discuss the solution. Okay, so the thing that immediately occurred to me in this position was the vulnerability of the black king. You'll see that these light squares around the black king and this g-file are both very susceptible to attack by the major pieces. And in fact, what I realized in this position was that if the knight on f3 was taken off the board, there would actually be a forced mate in 4 here, and I saw all this at the board. So the idea is that the queen can come here with check, and let's say the king comes to g7, you have rook g1, and then queen g6, and then queen g7 is going to be mate. So that would be a mate in 4. So I started to look for lines which would involve getting the knight off of this diagonal, and there are two good candidate moves that both win. I found the second best one, which goes something like this. So knight e5 check. Capturing with either pawn would lose immediately because of the queen h5 check idea we've already looked at. However, black has a defensive resource which I'd seen but I didn't exploit properly. So knight here, and actually just f takes is winning. So f takes, and now we've still got these terrible threats. So let's say he's got to do something about the queen coming to h5. So king g7 isn't good because of rook g1. So and king e8 is also really bad for black because of after queen h5 and king d7, pawn takes d6, and this bishop is going to fall because this is no good, because after bishop takes, rook takes, king takes, and the queen is lost. So there's a lot going on here. But in the game, I didn't even consider this f takes e5, and it's sort of almost embarrassing to admit that. But this is the reality of the situation. I think largely it was down to the adrenaline that I was running through my veins at the moment. But I saw this idea, which is actually still winning at this point. So after queen h5 check, my opponent can block with knight g6. I play f5, pressuring this, He plays rook takes. However, I made a critical error here, and this is quite thematic, I think. When you're the attacking side, you want to keep as many lines and diagonals open as possible. So the way to continue here to win is to play rook hg1, because I'm still going to win this knight, but I'd like to win it by playing rook takes, because then after rook takes, queen takes check, and these lines are all still open, and the king is in a lot of trouble. The move I played was pawn takes, and this immediately takes the wind out of White's attack, because White's own pawn can then be used as a blockade. So king to g7, and White is still obviously better here, but the immediate sort of forced winning variations come to an end. So I felt very disappointed after this game. I mean, we both got into time trouble, and I agreed to a draw, later on. But to have had such a fine attacking position and then sort of thrown it away was quite disappointing. So if you found that some of those lines, that's great. There's an even stronger line that starts knight d4. Now the reason this is so great is it's hitting this vulnerable e6 square, and it's also targeting this square on h5, and it's not possible to defend both threats adequately. So for instance, after king to e8, we just have knight takes e6, and we're going to pick up one of these major pieces, and it's just a absolutely winning position. So let's say the queen comes over here. You got the queen h5 check, rook f7, rook hg1, and black is in a world of hurt. The rook is threatening to come down here, and there's really no way for black to defend this position. If alternatively he tries something like queen to e8, knight e6 is still possible, bringing the king into very dangerous territory. So let's say if the king comes here, it's actually a mate in 8, starting with f5 check, king f7, queen h5, and the queen is going to be mated very quickly. So queen g7, rook g1, and actually after king h7 and rook g6, the queen is actually going to have to give itself up in order to prevent the mate here on h6. So there was a ton of stuff going on tactically in these positions, and I think it's very important when you're in the game to recognize these critical moments in the game and give yourself adequate time to calculate very carefully all of the lines, because it's tempting when you see something that looks attractive to want to play it immediately, but once you kind of lose the opportunity, once the opportunity's gone begging, you can't go back in chess. So it's very important to make the best of your attacking chances in the game and use your time and win from these types of positions. So this was an important lesson for me, a disappointing one, but nevertheless I hope you enjoyed the exercise, and I'll see you next time for another video. Thank you and goodbye.